Hello, Raymond Bukenya here. I bring you Christmas greetings from myself, my family, and from True Tangazo, Uganda. Christmas is traditionally associated with gift giving and receiving. We are told that when Jesus was born, wise men from the east, said to be kings, led by a bright shining star, came to see him in Bethlehem and brought him gifts. Precious, expensive, but above all, symbolic. Across the world, stories are told of how Santa secretly go around different homes and cities delivering gifts for those who wrote prior and others who deserve to receive them accordingly. As a young boy back in the 90s, my Christmas gifts never came from Santa, but through a Compassion International aided project that I was enrolled on at St. Kakumba Chapel in Chambogo University, back then project tagged UG 402. I remember each of us, the project aided kids, looking forward to receiving our annual Christmas gift from our sponsors. Back then it used to be $10, and I can assure you it was a lot of money for a 10-year-old me. In response, we gifted our sponsors with a beautiful thank you message in form of a letter updating them about our year and what we are intending to do with the Christmas gift. But of course, each year we had to think of something new and exciting that we intended to do with our gifts. As our sponsors, on the other hand, ensured also to do good on their commitment, they promised to give us a gift. I believe this tradition still continues to this day, and perhaps in different amount and format. Something our peers and siblings who are not enrolled in the project never had the privilege to. Those of us for whom it has become normal to give and receive Christmas gifts, or even buying some for ourselves, we know that these gifts keep changing every year. Children rarely fancy the same gift each year, and my own kids can attest to that, having received a different gift this year and over the years each Christmas. If you've already got your gift for this year, you will agree with me, not even adults like to receive the same gift each year. Well, in a materialistic world where we people receive different, trending and better gifts each year, what does it mean for us to receive the same old gift, story, and songs in form of carols at Christmas every year from a God whom we know very well that is not only able to do everything, not only has everything, but is also able to create more amazing gifts? The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 9, in that famous messianic prophecy, that in verse 6, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given. Earlier before verse 6, in verse 2, Isaiah prophesied and said, the people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in the land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. If Christmas is about celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ, God's gift to the world, then what kind of gift is this baby? The prophet Isaiah, prophesying many centuries before the first Christmas, gave what has become to be known as one of the most popular and significant messianic prophecies. For us, a child is born, to us, a son is given. A son for a gift. But to what kind of people? A world that celebrates and delights in darkness? Do we deserve any such a gift from God that is holy and light? Friends, darkness connotes evil, fear, danger, uncertainty, and possibly even death. In fact, it scatters us and separates us from God and neighbor. Instead of a gift, we deserve judgment, punishment, condemnation. Our preference as humanity to walk and dwell in darkness speaks of the state of our fallenness and total depravity, which we call spiritual death. In the dark, our personal and individual darkness is hidden, and it is safe, as we would prefer, obviously. No one really wants their darkness exposed for all to see, But sometimes it's not up to us, because when light shines, indeed our internal and external darkness is no longer safe. So often our natural response, is to, when light comes, is to seek out a dark corner to hide. And guess what? Exactly what Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden. Light, on the other hand, connotes life, clarity, safety, hope. Light is good. It gathers us in, draws us in, leading us onto the only path back to God and to neighbor. When John writes the famous John 3:16, that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only begotten Son, he is in fact quoting Isaiah. But as an evangelist, he's giving us his theological understanding of why God would give his only Son, in whom he is well pleased, to a world filled with darkness and wickedness. Like Isaiah, John sees Jesus as God's gift, light and hope for our dark world. A world that would in turn reject this gift because, it didn't meet the expectation of an appropriate gift in the times. It's not trendy, it's old, a baby. One of my favorite hymns is "Yet Not I, but Through Christ in Me." And the hymn writer asks at the beginning, what gift of grace is Jesus my Redeemer? There is no more for heaven now to give. I wonder, does this mean that as far as Christmas gifts are concerned from God, we are stuck with this Jesus Christ, the same old gift that was given over 2,000 years ago? Of what use is this same old Christmas gift in our dark and broken world? A world full of new and exciting things to offer. What is the relevance of the familiar story of Mary's baby in a manger? Yet my kids long for a brand new PlayStation 4. How can we even think of God's Christmas gift when, Jesus Christ in our world, when we desire political prisoners to be set free, healing for the sick, medicines in hospitals, employment for the unemployed young people, functional marriages, or even for Judge Namudu and victims of Chitezi to find justice. Though undeserving of any ounce of grace, God comes into our dark world and gifts us with his marvelous light, brightly shining on the only straight path back to himself. In his Son, the little baby boy Jesus, whose birth we celebrate at Christmas and share gifts. This is Christ. He comes into our dark world and that shamelessly, our dark world that shamelessly lights and celebrates darkness, so that all of our individual and corporate darkness is exposed and overcome, as John would write in John 1:4. Darkness then ceases to be the problem because guess what? Yes, a solution, which is a great light, has been provided, given to us freely. The major problem that remains is that darkness that is hidden in your heart and my heart. Yet even for that, the same old solution, Jesus Christ, light of the world, is provided. Friends, light cannot be hidden, nor can it be ignored. The Bible tells us that right from the beginning, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 2, at creation, that there was darkness hovering over the face of the deep. And goes on to tell us in verse 3 that God created light, which changed everything. It is then not surprising that in similar pattern, John, writing in first century Jerusalem, saw his world filled with darkness and Christ's coming as the light that will change everything, the light of God. Similarly, the picture painted of our own reality today is utter darkness, moral and spiritual, hopelessness, as Paul would attest in Philippians chapter 2, verse 15. However, it is in this very stark darkness that we are gifted freely with the brightest light in the world. Once again, as we celebrate at Christmas, Jesus' birth. Therefore, the people walking in darkness and living in utter darkness, this kind that Isaiah saw, only find their hope for redemption in the same old gift of light. there is something symbolic about this gift that God himself gives, beyond the symbolism of, our gifts that we give as humans. We are fallen. We give gifts that are mostly bought and sometimes strategic, yet God gives graciously, generously of himself. Emmanuel, God with us. In his Sermon on the Mount, immediately after the famous Beatitudes, Jesus turns to his followers, known as disciples, and tells them that you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, for all to see. It may give light to all in the house. In the same way, he says, let your light shine before others, so that when they see your good works, they will give glory to your Father in heaven, who is the giver of that very light. In other words, Jesus charges his followers then and now, to be aware of their new nature and identity as the very extension of his light in the dark world where they live every single day. And that light cannot be ignored. Indeed, Christmas is a time of merrymaking, friends, with family, community, giving and receiving gifts. And I hope that by the time you are watching this, you have received or given a Christmas gift. If not yet, I still hope, you will in time. I believe you will get something in time for the day and celebrations. And of course, personally, I've received and I've given out a couple of gifts. And I'm currently prayerfully considering a couple of appeals from, families that are struggling currently with, financial difficulty. And they need to go through celebrating Christmas as others will. And I'm believing God to provide to enable me to do that. But I'm also aware that there are many drives by different organizations and churches. For example, a kilo of kindness, where churches are encouraging people to share a kilogram of food stuff with other families that are in need during this season. Interestingly, I've also learned that it's nothing wrong to be generous to myself. So I bought myself a gift. Unlike the Compassion International Christmas gifts that were only given to project-aided children, God's gift at Christmas is for all of us, for you and I, for everybody all over the world. He gave to the whole world, and it remains the same each year. Jesus Christ is God's same old Christmas gift we all need, always, even this year. No one should go home sad, miserable, confused, or broken. No, we are all called to receive this free gift. Yet most of us will choose only to celebrate and make merry, give and receive some material gifts, but continue to reject the main and eternal gift of the self-giving God himself. We allow everything else to obstruct us from this light. May I challenge you, friends, this Christmas, that you, as you enjoy, also consider how you respond to this gift of God's light to our world that walks and dwells in darkness. Whether you receive a material gift or not, whether you're able to give one or not, will you please receive, celebrate, and share the greatest gift of them all, the same old gift, Jesus Christ, the light of the world, coming to us anew and afresh, meaningful today as from of old, the self-giving God, in whom, only him, you will find light for both of you, yourself, and for the world around you, leading us back to the straight path which ultimately leads to God himself. May his great light shine upon you and your life's paths this Christmas, fill you with great joy into the new year 2025 and beyond. Much love and blessings to you from myself, my wife and kids, and from Truth Tangaza, Uganda. Announcing truth, awakening thought, and affirming faith. Merry Christmas to you.